Jersey's own Zach Gelb. Or maybe it's Pennsylvania. Anyhow, it's one of the two, I'm pretty sure. The Zach Gelb Show continues on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
Welcome back in. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Time right now in our Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios, 4:16. Giants and Jets fans not happy with their head coaches in Todd Bowles and Ben McAdoo. Eagles fans disappointed from yesterday, but still a good start at 3-1 with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. Now joining us on the hotline, though, does a tremendous job for NFL.com, and that is Gregg Rosenthal. Greg, appreciate a few minutes, and how are you, pal?
I'm doing well. How's it going?
Doing great. Can't complain. Let's get into first the New York Giants. Ben McAdoo, his strength, the reason why he was named the head coach was because of familiarity with the offense. So far through the first 5 games for the Giants, I don't see an impressive offense under 18 points per game. What do the Giants have to do to fix this offense?
Yeah, you said it. They kept him because of the way this offense finished out last season, and I think defenses have adjusted to how to stop this Giants team. And when they start talking about, well, they lined up in a cover 2, and that's preventing us from playing, going deep at all. And I'm thinking, what? Every defense plays a version of a cover 2. It's not a surprising change of events for a team that likes to dink and dunk. And Eli Manning has not looked comfortable. I've really been surprised with how disjointed their entire passing game is. That needs to be this team's identity.
A big reason why Eli's looked a little bit disoriented has been because of the lack of good offensive line play. Even though when Eli has got some time, he hasn't looked great either. But through the first 5 games under Ben McAdoo, I've seen 2 things: poor offensive play and then players out of control. Credit Odell, he calmed himself down, but the last 2 weeks were a disaster. Flowers gets into it with the reporter last night. That's a circus atmosphere, things you usually do not see with the New York Giants organization. How do they get these players to be control and be a little bit calm? Because right now it doesn't look like Ben McAdoo can control that locker room.
Well, you know that everything gets amplified in New York. If this was a story for the Dolphins or the Titans, I don't know if all the rest of it would get as much attention. It's really, to me, because they're not running the ball, because the offensive line, as you said, is not playing well. All that other stuff will get swept under the rug. But McAdoo, I think, is learning what a lot of new first-time head coaches learn, which is, he's got his face looking at the play call sheet the whole game, and he's worried about that. And he's got other things that he needs to worry about, the whole team, controlling them, game management. I think his use of challenges was very problematic in the fourth quarter of that game. So he's failing at that while also struggling to keep up an offense that, if you look across the other side of the field, Mike McCarthy runs the same offense. That offense isn't working too well either right now. So you got to wonder about the Mike McCarthy-McAdoo offense in the NFL.
One thing I didn't understand last night was when Starks fumbles the ball, at first I thought there was a chance that could get overturned. I don't know if they would have overturned it, but he burned that final timeout anyway. Why not just challenge the play? You're risking losing the timeout anyway by just throwing it away right out of the gate.
Yep, that's crazy, and to me, not challenging the final catch by Cobb, I believe it was, in the final drive was insane because he only had 1 timeout left. That 1 timeout wasn't doing him any good at that point. I think there was a chance that play could have been overturned and the Giants could have got the ball back. I really do.
And I'll also say this, everyone thought this division was going to be a disaster. If you would have told me before the year 2-3, I would say, hey, you could probably be still in it, and I'm not counting the Giants out. You get a win against the Ravens, things turn out all right, and you're 500. But this NFC East has been a lot better than what people thought, Greg.
Absolutely. I've been stunned. I thought this could be the worst division in football. I couldn't be more wrong about that because I think the Dallas Cowboys are here to stay. I don't know if they're going to win 12 games or anything, but I think their offense is going to be a top 5 to 6 offense, even with Dak Prescott, which is incredible. The Eagles are obviously going to be a tough out. The Redskins, to me, are a little lucky to be 3-2, but that's a team that won a division, probably could win 7 or 8 games. So I don't think it's going to be like last year where if you're 500, you're going to be right in it in Week 15. I think it's going to take 10 or 11 wins to win this division this year.
With the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott looked sensational yesterday running behind that dominant offensive line. A lot being made of the quarterback. It's a tough spot, but I believe it's a no-brainer. You got to keep rolling with what's winning in Dak Prescott. When Romo is healthy, Do you see the Cowboys maybe going back to him?
They are. They say they are, and I believe them. You know, they're saying there's no question he's our quarterback. I do think it's a situation because of his injury. When he gets back on the practice field, you know, you don't have to put him in after 2 days of practice for the first time in, 3 months. You've got a great starting quarterback right now. You can make sure Tony Romo is fully ready, it's fully healed, and that can make a 2-week difference. Who knows how Dak Prescott is going to be playing a month from now? He's going to get at least 3 more starts. He's been sensational. I don't think they're going to do anything but put Tony Romo back in, no matter how well Prescott's playing.
Gregg Rosenthal with us from NFL.com on the Zach Gelb Show. We moved from one disaster in the Giants to another bad head coaching job in the New York Jets. Down 11, under 8 to play yesterday on your own 46 against a prolific passing offense in the Steelers. What does the Jets offense decide to do on 4th and 2? They punt. What's the explanation for that? Because I still can't believe that's what Todd Bowles did yesterday.
There's no explanation. It's this old school thinking that some of the defensive head coaches still have, and I think you've seen it change around the league. You see a lot of teams go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 40 or 45 in the first half of games now because it's the percentage play, and you're showing some confidence in your offense, and it's crazy that the Jets didn't go for that. Look, they had about 3 or 4 other chances where it was 4th and short during that game. Some of them would have been very bold, but to me, it's playing to a defense that's not there. He thinks this is a great defense. It's not a great defense. They're going to need to score some points to win games, and they couldn't do that yesterday.
It's really amazing how the strengths of both of these coaches in New York are not being met. McAdoo, an offensive guy, Bowles, a defensive guy, being under Bruce Arians in Arizona. And I'm not a Jets fan, but as an outsider and someone that watches his press conferences, he says the same things every week, and it's the normal coaching cliches, and I never see any adjustments. How many more times, what is it going to take to change to stop letting this defense, which is supposed to be all world and it's not, prevent from allowing the big play? It's unbelievable. It
is, and Jets fans, look, they're never going to get those answers from Todd Bowles. That's not who he is. When they're winning games, people like that he's solid and he's consistent. I think there's a couple different ways he can handle the media in New York. He's going to stay out of its way. He's never going to say anything. I think his players play for him and they respect him, but he needs to show how to adjust. He's got a fatal flaw right now. They don't run, you can stop the run all you want in the NFL. I think they're showing the limitations of that. They don't really have a great pass rush despite those 3 defensive linemen that are terrific players. Leonard Williams is having a breakout season, but they hit Ben Roethlisberger 1 time in 48 dropbacks yesterday. It's unacceptable. You can't win that way.
Another thing that's unacceptable is only rushing the football against the Steelers 17 times. You have to establish that rushing attack to try to keep Big Ben and Antonio Brown off the field. Only 17 times yesterday rushing the football. That's ugly.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little more of Bilal Powell. I think you see with Matt Forte that he's a good role player right now. He does not have a lot of explosion, I wouldn't say, left in his legs. I think they're using him in a decent way, but I think you got to get Powell a little more involved. You got to do everything you can to protect Fitzpatrick. It's kind of a storm all coming together where this is a team that needs its defense to be great. They don't have Eric Decker. A lot of things going wrong, especially the schedule. If their schedule had been a little bit easier, I don't think they'd be getting as much heat as they are.
No question. They have the talent to make the playoffs. The first 7 games is going to be very tough. We've already seen that through 5 games. Brandon Marshall, though, what the heck? He thinks they're in a perfect situation. I don't see that, Greg. Are the Jets done at 1-4, or can they turn this ship around?
I think they can turn it around. I really do. They're going to need to do it in the next 2 weeks. I don't think the Cardinals are such a tough matchup right now. I think they're going to have to do it right now. I don't think they're in a perfect spot. To me, that whole speech and he's yelling woo and getting all excited, it's almost a little too transparent. He's trying to be that guy that's making a big speech when things are at their darkest. And I get it. You're going to need some positivity there. But you got to have it show up on Sunday. They just haven't shown up in the second half of these last 3 games whatsoever.
Gregg Rosenthal with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show on a football Monday. Let's get to the Eagles. One thing I was surprised, and the Eagles, I have to give them a lot of credit because they played very well and they've already exceeded my expectations. But I was surprised, though, yesterday how flat they came out coming off a bye.
Yeah, I think you saw Jim Bob Cooter, the Lions offensive coordinator, have one of those game plans that was just perfect for the opponent that he was facing, and I think it was a coaching issue. I really do. I think he outfoxed Jim Schwartz to give them a 14-0 lead. They really set up their plays beautifully. They're a tougher out than I think people realize. Stafford's playing like a top 6-7 quarterback right now, and they've got enough offensive pieces to scare you. And the Carson Wentz and the Eagles just couldn't quite come back. I mean, they were just about there until that Ryan Matthews fumble. I think they could have stolen that game, but they're not a team that can just give away 14 points to start a game, and I think that's where they lost it.
3rd and 2 on that Matthews fumble. I was thinking before they called the play that I want the ball in my best player's hands on offense, and that is Carson Wentz. I understand trying to get the first down on the run because then if you don't get it, you could run the clock, but should the Eagles have thrown that football on 3rd and 2 to ice the game away?
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that. I mean, I think that's playing aggressively. It's funny because they tried to make the conservative call. You said it. You know, they throw the pitch out, and they figure worst-case scenario, the clock keeps running. That's the conservative play. Well, it turns out, you know, it's not the conservative play, especially with the guy Ryan Matthews, who had a fumbling issue earlier in his career. I would rather see Carson Wentz, who really was the reason they came back in that game and overall played another terrific game, get a chance to win the game. But he's a rookie, and I think this staff is learning with him as they go, and overall it's been great.
The ironic part is they're conservative there on 3rd and 2. Then they get the ball back, only down by 1, just need a field goal. They air it out and try to throw a bomb to win the game, and it gets intercepted. I understand he's a rookie, but that's the first bad mistake of the Carson Wentz era.
Yeah, but I put a lot of that. I agree with you, and I'm not even sure Aguilar was their primary reader. I
was
think they
Matthews.
wanted him to get the ball right. And I think he wanted to get the ball out quicker. It didn't happen, but Aguilar's got to make a better effort on that play. There's
right.
2 plays in that game where he really did not make a great effort.
That doesn't surprise me with Nelson Aguilar, to be honest with you. Finally, with Carson Wentz, though, final point with the Eagles as Gregg Rosenthal joins us right now. With the Eagles, what's impressed you the most so far with Carson Wentz?
Well, like you said, he hadn't made any mistakes. I think it's the plays you can't teach. I think you saw it yesterday. A lot of times free rushers coming at him, and he calmly just, gets past them like it's nothing. Like, you have a guy coming to the NFL from North Dakota State, and he's handling defensive linemen, linebackers that are getting after him like it's nothing, keeping his eyes downfield, making throws on the run, and really having a good idea of when to get rid of the ball quickly, too. So he showed a lot of maturity. So is Dak Prescott. You usually don't see rookies as intelligent as the two of them come into the league.
We saw Garoppolo have some early success before he got injured. Simeon, before he got injured, early success. Then what you're seeing out of Prescott and Wentz. What is it right now that's working for these young guys? Why are they able to come into this league and play so well? Because you usually don't see that with a young quarterback.
Yeah, you don't. In a few cases, you got great coaches or a great defense. I think it's coaches starting to realize, good coaches at least, you build your team and your game plans and your scheme around your players' talent. You don't try to fit it the other way. And I think a lot of times when you see young quarterbacks fail, it's trying to jam these quarterbacks like a Marcus Mariota into a system that doesn't work for him. They're not asking them to do too much, and because of that, they're doing a lot.
Now, before we let you run, final one with Gregg Rosenthal. How about Brady yesterday? He was brilliant.
He played one of the best quarterback games of the year, which I guess we shouldn't be too surprised about. It's Tom Brady, it's Cleveland, it's the return from suspension. But if you're a Patriots fan or if you're a fan of one of the other AFC teams, you got to be really worried about how do you defend this team with Gronkowski, Martellus Bennett, and I'd even throw Chris Hogan on the outside, all on the same field at the same time, along with Edelman. The two tight ends especially just makes it so hard to match up with them.
Greg, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right, great talking to you.